Welcome into Bookie Brooke and the Boys. I'm Brandon Shanahan. We also, of course, got Bookie Brooke here. We're the boys. So, Bookie Brooke, let's just get started with you. How you doing? There we go.
Cryptid. So I was saying, I was feeling great. I was wondering why Tyler was shaking his head at me.
I don't like when you're feeling great.
Yeah,
I love
it
it.
is what it is. Well, I mean, we're gonna have a bad time then if that's how it goes. But Tyler, how'd it go? How you doing?
I'm
You have a
good.
good
Thank
weekend?
you for asking. I did got a dub for Nebraska. Always good to see. Ready to make some picks, keep the momentum going, or maybe be even worse than I was before.
It's fantastic. So let's just kind of dive into it. First week that we did some NFL picks. So congrats to us in that respect. But overall, more of the same. Bookie Brooke is the only one who comes out, even money with plus money there. I got to admit that Mizzou money line bet hit me pretty hard. And then I'm definitely the big loser here. I won 2 bets, which isn't nothing. Of course, it's the 2 bets that I put the least amount of investment into. So thank you for that. I will put up a last second touchdown to screw me over. So that was cool. Appreciate them for that. And then Iowa State let me down. Kansas State let me down. Neither of those teams won at all. And then Tyler, first winning week, 3-2. Unfortunately, losing the $400 and $500 bets. But so far, the best week for you so far. So when you look at your own boards, fellas, what do you take to the drawing board?
Well, first, Florida did cover +7. So Brooke is actually way better.
They won outright by
they beat the brakes off of Tennessee.
That's right. Oh, that's right. God. Oh, boy.
I was looking at that and I was like, wow, I thought I did way better.
Yoinks. Oh, boy. That's a big number.
Damn, Brooke, let's go.
Let's get it.
Boy, what a disaster. What that $1,800 difference between you and me this week. Wow.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe sheep.
That's right. Motto.
So, I mean, I guess you don't really have a whole lot to go back to the drawing board with. Mississippi State didn't cover.
I've got something I need to get off my chest.
What's that?
Let's hear it.
So, I get Tyler is new to gambling, but one thing that this man has to work on is gambling etiquette, I would call it. This man, when Georgia was up 10 and he had South Carolina to cover 27.5 with like 6 minutes left, is going, man, I just still don't feel good about this. And I go, Tyler, you're fine. They would have to score 3 times in 6 minutes. Like that's about as sure a thing as you're going to get doing this. And then we're watching UNLV play Vanderbilt. And there's like 2 minutes left. And I have UNLV plus 4.5. And they're tied. And he's looking at me and he goes, oh, you're good. There's no way they don't cover this. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? This fucking guy, he's over here panicking with plus 27 with 5 minutes left. And it's tied. And Vanderbilt has the ball with 2 minutes left. And he's like, oh, you're good. No way you lose that one.
Listen, in my defense, first time being here, first time, long time. Secondly, I was just trying to, give you confidence in your play, try to ease your mind a little bit. Sure, maybe I could have mushed it like I've been doing so much this year so far. But I am just never confident when you're going up against a team like Georgia. I think they were like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So, but still, Brooke is right. I've never been here before. So I'm trying to learn. This is a process that I'm going through. So hand up. That's on me.
I would have had to absolutely just do horrible things to Tyler if UNLV would not have covered that after that.
You find us in my basement. He's just on top of me, just beating the shit out of me.
I also appreciate how of all those afternoon games or morning games, it's UNLV Vanderbilt that you guys have dialed in. That's some real sicko stuff you got going on.
That was a night game, right?
It was a night game.
Well, then how was Georgia on at the same time?
On
The Georgia thing happened first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so these aren't concurrent events.
No. They weren't like.
Okay.
It was earlier on in the day when Georgia was only up 10, and he was like, "Oh, I'm nervous about them covering." We're getting down to like the fourth quarter, and
And especially
I've
when
seen some crazy shit. All right,
but when that number is so big that Georgia's probably like we don't need to win by 30 here.
no, they just
They're
want
not
the clock.
they're not trying to cover. They're just trying to get out of there with the win. Maybe an insurance touchdown or two, but the wheels would really have had to have fallen off for that to have even really been much of a sweat.
but you see Iowa going instead of kicking the field goal or whatever, they score a touchdown with like 10 seconds left. I mean, you see shit like that happen, it makes you nervous.
And speaking
At least
of
for
betting,
me, not knowing anything.
yeah, and betting etiquette wise, I botched that one because I had already texted you guys like, okay, well, I won the Iowa game, so I'm gonna go 3-2 and still come out with no money. And then of course, yeah, they score a last second field touchdown.
You lost the under on that last play.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Brooke won money on that last play, so it's
I
a tale of
did.
two.
I had.
That's a good
two-sided coin.
That's a good bet. I mean, I can't believe it. It's the
I
first time
mean,
that they've
Brian
broken
Ferentz
25
saw
points
the
off.
chance to,
Pad
get
his
closer
stats a
to
little
that
bit,
number,
yeah.
and he said, "Fucking foot on the gas, we're
No
scoring."
kidding. And I mean, yeah, hats off to him because that's the first time that they've gotten past 25 points this year, and they're not playing world beaters in Iowa State and Ohio. So they really got to make hay while the sun's out against Western Michigan.
Yeah, I loved his press conference. He said, "Hop out of my ass."
That was fake. That was fake.
That wasn't real.
No,
That was fake.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
fuck.
fake.
Got
It was
me.
a
Egg
bummer.
on your face, dude.
Oof.
Now I
Isn't
also
that
learned.
embarrassing?
Yeah, I also
How
learned
was
that
that
Dabo.
fake?
Oh,
It was like a deep fake or
yeah,
whatever.
deep fakes are getting pretty good because that Dabo Sweeney clip a couple weeks ago where he talked about his offense getting compared to Brian Ferentz, that was fake too, which is a bummer.
Dude, I gotta start paying attention. I can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore.
I mean, it's real subtle. It's getting tough out here, that's for sure.
But
I
it
was
was an
all in.
all-time. If that were real, that would be an all-time clip for sure. You're not wrong there.
I encourage you. Dude, you guys will have
Find a
to show-
ladder and climb out of my ass.
That's so funny. If that's the world we live in now, I don't want to be here. With fakes being that good nowadays, oh my god.
Oh man, and they're only going to get so much better. I've seen like ads on Instagram that are like Joe Rogan deep fakes that look like he's talking about this product on his podcast. And I mean, if the dialogue and the writing wasn't so bad, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell it apart.
Jesus.
No.
And so, Brooke, let me pick your brain here a little bit because your biggest winner of the week is obviously my biggest loser in Missouri. Did you see that? What did you see? What were you looking for there? What made you think that Missouri was what was going to be the defending Big 12 champs?
So, in my mind, like so my big thing now, as I've like been doing this a while, I look at like the percentage of money and the percentage of bets that go on each team, and Missouri was the biggest public play of the week. And then the line moved in Missouri's favor when all the money was coming in on K-State. So immediately, like, my sensors went off and, like something Vegas-y is going on here where, if truly 90% of the money was coming in on Kansas State and they thought Kansas State was going to win this game, like, this game should have been closing at 6 or 7 points. But it moved down closer to the money line. So I'm like, well, either Missouri's going to cover or they're going to win outright. And winning outright on a 61-yard field goal in college is crazy.
I couldn't believe that.
And Tyler, to his credit, I respect taking Packers money line, but if he would have taken the 3, I mean, he's very positive on the week.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes, it's always better to take the points, but I just had a gut feeling that Vegas was going to clean up on that one specific game where I bet a lot of people in parlays had K-State money line or, what have you, thinking that's a sure thing. And Missouri's not a bad team either. So it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I wish you would have explained betting to me like that. How you use like the line shifting as an indicator, because as you guys know, I'm a big investment guy, big stock guy. That makes a whole lot of sense to me instead of just going out there and trying to find something that might not even be there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for. We got the degenerate veteran and Brooke, and then we got sprinklers. We're educating our audience here as much as anything.
And sometimes there are reverse linements too that like don't mean anything. Where I was looking at the Nebraska game for the Northern Illinois, and there was a lot of sharp bettors or smart money coming in on Northern Illinois, which really scared me because those guys are right more than they're wrong. But towards kickoff, the money, like the line started moving with Nebraska again, so it made me feel a little bit better about Nebraska's odds to win. So it's not always an exact science, but there are certain games where it's like, I don't know, it kind of sticks out now to me.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me.
And so as we take a look at our season total here, also, let me do some more calculations here because I got Brooke's season total wrong. Me and Tyler still both pretty deep in the red. But the thing about betting is that you can only lose 100% of your money, and you can make 300-400% of it. So we're trucking through. We got some work to do for sure. Let's just do that calculation here real quick. So Brooke gets another $630. What a disaster. So Tyler, now that you've got a couple of weeks under you, how are you feeling about it? Are you kind of getting the hang of it, or?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. As I said last week, I'm certainly more comfortable, and I know a lot more about the NFL than I do college. Granted, I went 1 for 3 this week on NFL bets. 1 and 2 for the NFL bets. So, but one of them was close. But I do feel a lot better going into it now, knowing a little bit more. I'm starting to be able to pick up on key things like if it's a large number of points, you go the opposite way, things like that. Doesn't always work out, but when there's a lot of points, it's harder to cover, obviously, because math. But I'm starting to get the hang of it.
And that's kind of where I was so surprised with your week is that I did expect you to be. I mean, those bets made a lot of sense. Packers money line, they looked good week 1, and then the Ravens Bengals under wasn't that far off. I think it was like 51 points total, so that was pretty close. And then if you just take the Packers points there, you're in the green there. So you're knocking on the doorstep, that's for sure.
Yep, getting better every week. You got to see progress. And there you go.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that adding the NFL would turn that around for you a little bit more. But nonetheless, great week here. I mean, boy, what a slate of college football. I'll tell you what. I mean, just outstanding stuff.
I'm excited.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this week.
That's for sure. Conference play is starting to heat up. Got some good rivalry games and some real, significant games. It feels like the last couple of weeks, you can't really, except for like Florida State and Texas, you can't really bolster your playoff resume here in the first 3 weeks. You can lose it, and you can kind of tumble. See Clemson, but you can't really build that resume in the first 3 weeks. But now is time for that to start to pay off. And if you think about it, the non-conference league can kind of be like the preseason for college football, and I think it's going to be the preseason for us. I think we're just heating up.
Starting to get in the swing of things. Getting to see the teams more helps a lot too, because you see exactly what they are. I mean, obviously it varies week to week a lot of the time, but it doesn't vary that much, so it's easier to kind of pick things.
Yeah.
But college is always such a crapshoot, anyways, because anything can happen. There's crazy stuff that happens all the time. Whereas the NFL, it's a lot easier to kind of predict that kind of stuff.
For sure. Well, perfect. So let's get looking at week 4 here. Tyler and I still have some work to do to catch up to Bookie Brooke, but I'm glad that we named the show aptly. It makes us feel like we knew that the Brooke was going to pop off in the way that he did. So Brooke, we'll start off with you. $100 bets. What are you looking here?
There's a ton of games on the board that I like. If you guys have yours, go, because I'm not sure in which way I want to order these.
So let's see.
Brandon, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I got one that I'll start off with. Actually, I don't know if I want to start off with that one. Very, very uneasy about it. Give me TCU minus 6.5 against SMU. Rivalry game in Fort Worth. TCU, granted, it's against Nicholls State and whoever and Houston, but their defenses looked really dialed in the last couple of weeks, especially after giving up 7,000 yards to Colorado in week 1. It seems like they've been really dialed in, and Chandler Morris has been efficient. And I know that they don't want to lose to SMU. And SMU is probably feeling pretty good about where their football program's heading. This is one that you can't let slip here if you're TCU, and I think it pays off here.
Heck yeah. I like the over in the Florida State Clemson game. Right now I'm seeing 55.5.
To 45.5?
55.
55. I believe it.
I think Florida State's got to have a lot to prove after that kind of misstep against Boston College. Also, Clemson needs to do a lot to get back into winning territory for them. So I think it's going to be a shootout.
Brooke, how you feeling?
I mean, I have like my 3 best ones locked and loaded, ready to go. But as far as, my $100 bet, there's a couple I'm on the fence about. I'll just throw this one out there because I think it'll end up hitting. The over in Tennessee and UTSA. I believe it's 59.
58.5.
Okay, 50. I'll take that number if that's what we're getting. I just think against a Conference USA defense, they should put up 30 or 40, and Frank Harris and the UTSA offense will get 2 or 3 scores to push this total over.
It's another bounce back game kind of situation for Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, especially because I think UTSA is definitely going to pull their weight in getting there. I think Tennessee's defense is pretty bad. I mean, if Florida can look as good as they did, I'm not sure that UTSA doesn't have a better offense than them. So I like that a lot. Joel Milton's obviously going to have something to prove it. And with that kind of talent gap between their offense and UTSA's defense, you really kind of have some opportunities to spread the field and that on some points there. So I'm a big fan of that. For my $200 bets, I mean, this is probably the single game I'm most excited for, so it feels silly to not have any action on it. Give me Clemson money line.
Gross.
I think they need this game more than Florida State's.
And it's at home.
Clemson. So I don't think that's nothing. I mean, their season's on the line here. If they win this game, then they're right back to having everything that they want to accomplish be right back in front of them. So I think that they just need this game more, and I think they're going to find a way to figure it out. Again, if there's no context involved, no home field advantage, no context in the season, like a week 1 kind of game. I'm probably taking Florida State pretty comfortably, but I think Clemson, they're a sick dog, so watch out.
I was debating that as well, but as Brooke just said, it's better to take the points, so I'm going to trust him here.
I mean, I got some making up to do.
I guess.
I got some.
Yeah, what I meant is the over. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, but I was thinking about taking Clemson money line. If I hadn't, then I would have went the points. But for my second bet, I'm going to go the Los Angeles Rams plus 2.5 against the Bengals on Monday night. I think the Rams look so much better than the Bengals do. I know this is going to be a game that bites me in the ass because the Bengals are going to come out looking great, but off of what we've seen the first 2 weeks, the Rams should be the better team. They should be able to cover that, no problem, and probably even win outright.
I like it. For my $200 bet, I'm going with UCLA plus 4.5. I was flirting with going money line on this one, just because we still haven't seen Cam Rising suit up this year for Utah. They do have a great defense, but they don't really have a quarterback that can air it out. And UCLA has a strong offense that I think will be able to put up some points. And I really do think UCLA wins this game outright, but if not, I think it's very close to the end, so I'll take the 4.5.
They're dogs, right?
They are dogs.
Yeah, I think that Cam Rising piece is so important. But I do think that if he does play, the gap between him and the quarterbacks that we've seen so far is incredible. But
if Cam Rising plays, I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns. But without him, I think he makes that big of a difference for them.
Absolutely. And so for my $300 bet here, I'm getting kind of in the weeds. I'm on FanDuel right now. I'm checking out this Colorado tab, and I see some action that I like here. So give me 1 passing touchdown in each quarter.
Interesting.
Love
also
that.
plus 220. So that's a making up to do there. But
yeah,
I think that, I know Colorado's not going to be able to run the football. So I'm just kind of banking on them, especially if they fall behind. They're going to be trying to air it out. They could cover this, by themselves.
Yeah, and I also was going to take action on that game because, as you said, with the Florida State Clemson game, it'd be silly not to have any action on this game. Oddly enough, I like Colorado plus 21. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than 21 points, and should be a fun one. I think I'm still not sold on the whole Colorado thing, but I do think that they're a pretty solid team. They're scrappy, and they're not going to go away very easily.
And especially the way that Shadur Sanders looked late. Just give him the ball, and it doesn't matter if he has Travis
Hunter out for sure.
Yeah, he'll be out 3 weeks at least. A lacerated kidney.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
No, but they still have playmakers. You saw it in the game against us. Travis Hunter was pretty much, I don't want to say irrelevant, but he didn't get the ball like he did against TCU. So they have guys on the outside that can still make plays for him.
Brandon, since you have FanDuel pulled up, can you tell me what the Oregon team total over is?
Oh, good question. Oregon team total.
I know the over under 70, so it's probably pretty close to 50. I don't know.
Man, it's just and again they have their own tabs, so they're really just trying to get us to score.
Which is wild still.
Insane.
Crazy that they still have their own tab on there. I feel like they're trying to sucker people into betting on them. So one day when the floor falls out, then they make a lot more money. Like they make the money back that everybody won on Nebraska with.
I think this might be the weekend for that because Travis Hunter makes a huge difference for them.
Yeah, he really does, and he's a great player, great athlete. Plays both ways, obviously, as you've been force fed the last 3 weeks. But
So I have 45.5 on
Yeah,
draft.
go with that.
I'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
over on that for Oregon. I don't see a way, and they don't put up 50 here.
At 45.5.
Yeah.
I mean, because TCU put up 45 points on them, and I think Oregon's miles ahead as far as where TCU was week 1 on offense.
Yeah. And Travis Hunter is easily the best player on that defense. So he's out. I think this one does end up getting away from Colorado.
I think so too. Let's see here. So $400 bets. Man, I was thinking about just taking Oregon and the points there, but I feel like I can find something else here.
You want mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Money where my mouth is. Florida State -2.5.
I was kind of. Were you surprised to see the line set at 2.5?
Not at all, because I mean Clemson's at home. They're still one of the top teams in the ACC, so I think they will be up for this game, and Clemson Stadium will be rocking. But to open the year, Clemson was a 3.5 point favorite, so I mean this line doesn't shock me at all. It worries me that there's a lot of money coming in on Florida State, but the thing to monitor is the 4 starters for Florida State that were out for the Boston College game. If those 4 are out again, I'm not as confident about this at all. But if they're all back and they're all a full go, I don't see any way this stays in the single digits. I think 2 touchdowns plus for Florida State.
So let's see here. So I got my $400 bet here, and this is there's not a whole lot of objective football analysis to be made with this pick. It's really just with my heart. I'm taking the Broncos money line, 6.5 point dogs on the road against Miami. I just have a hard time thinking that Sean Payton in this team is going to go 0-3. Granted, I'm just betting against that sentence right there. I don't think the Broncos are better than the Dolphins. I don't think the Broncos are as bad as their 0-2 record would indicate. But I'm just betting on them not starting the season 0-3.
Gotcha.
Ballsy pick there. They say never bet with your heart, and here you are. I've been staring at this Oregon State-Washington State game. It seems kind of crazy to me that Oregon State is -3 at Washington State. And I'm going to take Washington State money line here.
I was looking at that too.
Plus 125. We're really going to see what both these teams really have to offer. Oregon State looked okay against, who was it, San Diego State? They were just never really able to put them away. And I think playing like that against Washington State, you're going to end up losing against them at home. So I'm very excited to see what that game has in store.
Washington State has an explosive offense, and I think Oregon State has a very good offense. They're just not as explosive, and they're on the road here. So I really like that one too. My $500 best bet, I've been saying this since our very first episode, Notre Dame money line. I think Ohio State is not good. I know McCord looked good against Western Kentucky or whatever and finally figured it out, but Notre Dame they always have a really good defense, and Sam Hartman really has that offense humming and really hasn't had to show much yet. I think this is Notre Dame's coming out party, them being for real, and I think Notre Dame by double digits.
Are you surprised to see them at 3.5 point dog at home?
Not really, just because of I think Ohio State's name is why they're 3.5 point favorites right
That's
now.
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
I think if you took the names off of both of these teams and just looked at it, I think Notre Dame would be 6.5 point favorites. But I think this is totally wrong.
I think so. That'd be a fun one. I have no objections there. I wouldn't put my $500 bet on it when I'm down $2,800, but I love the logic there, and I love that you're getting plus money for Notre Dame to win that game outright. They've looked so much better than Ohio State has this year, and when it comes down to it, I trust Sam Hartman at home more than I trust Kyle McCord on the road, especially because McCord hasn't had a road game yet.
No, and like Indiana's not a bad team by any means, but they're a middle of the road or bottom tier Big Ten team, and Ohio State really struggled with them. Notre Dame has more athletes, more 4 and 5 star guys that can really play. I just don't see Ohio State being in the realm of winning this game in the fourth quarter.
I think you're right. So for my $500 bet, I had a couple of thought processes going through here. One, I just thought about just picking up a win, getting like a Nebraska or a Tennessee money line, getting awful odds on that, but just getting a win in the $500 section. Another game that I thought if I really want to maximize the payout, so that would be like the minimum payout that I would take that route, the minimum payout, but the higher odds of just picking up a win. I need a win. But on the other end of the spectrum, Baylor money line is interesting to me. I think
it is too.
Yeah, I think that's a real upset kind of game here, and I think that Texas could be in trouble. They didn't look great against Wyoming last week. Baylor at home, kind of the same point that I brought up Clemson. Baylor's, I mean, they're on life support right now. They have a coach coaching for his job. They had such a bad non-conference slate that I think that they're going to be very dialed in, very rabid, and I think that's a dangerous team to play. I'm not putting it. I'm not betting that one. Tempted to ride Brooks' money line with Notre Dame here. I think that's such a good pick. But I think I'm going to settle kind of in the middle here. Give me Iowa State or give me Penn State minus 14.5 at home against Iowa. First of all, I don't know if Iowa scores 14 points in this game. I love Penn State's defense. It's a whiteout primetime game. I just don't think that Iowa's built for this. And so give me Penn State here.
I do like that pick. And I've been going back and forth from a couple different games here. Screw it. Give me Kansas State minus 4.5 at home against UCF. I think this is another one of those where they lost a tough one against Missouri, like we were talking about earlier.
Real quick, Will Howard might be out for that game.
Ooh, that changes some things. Thank you. Oh,
I like their backup quarterback, but he seems very one-dimensional. Like I don't think they've let him
run the ball. Yeah. Oh, that changes things quite a bit then.
I mean, Central Florida's on their backup quarterback as well. So it's not like they're
Yeah.
I mean, 5.5 points is a lot to swallow for a backup quarterback duel.
Yeah.
Wait, UCF's on their backup too?
Yeah, I think John Reese Plumlee is still out.
Ooh, I did not know that. Well, then that might swing it back in your favor too. There's a chance Will Howard still could play, but it's Wednesday right now, so.
And I'd imagine if because he definitely didn't look good towards the end of that Missouri game. It definitely seemed banged up.
Around. Yeah.
So I'd imagine if he was back in that game, it's because they need him to throw the football because they're trailing, or they need to, catch up, which wouldn't go very well as a 5.5 point spread.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one I was looking at is Rutgers to cover 24 points against Michigan.
I love that one. Rutgers is a good team. That, or you could go the under there because that'll be a run fest.
It's just so hard to bet against Michigan at home.
And the other thing I want you to think about is Michigan has not covered yet in a game, so they're probably due to cover one. But I'm not trying to talk you out of it.
No, that makes sense. Oof. Also, I'll still go with Kansas State. Let's go with Kansas State -4.5. I think they're due for a bounce back win here. And we'll see. We'll let it ride. That's what gambling's for, right?
Yes, sir.
I think you're absolutely right. That's a good move. Because I still do. I'm surprised you didn't go with any NFL picks, or if you were just too scarred from last week.
I did. Oh, with one, the Rams.
Oh, that's
2.5.
right.
I was looking at the lines for a lot of those games. Nothing really stood out to me. There was a couple that I was debating on. One being the Bills -6.5 against the Commanders. While the Commanders do look really good, I think the Bills are just a better team. The other one I was looking at was the Panthers and Seahawks total at 42.5. I think the under hits there. Neither of those teams really look to be humming on offense yet. I think it's going to be a very defensive-oriented game. Bryce Young still hasn't really found his feet yet. And the other one I was thinking about is the Chiefs 12.5, -12.5 against the Bears. The Bears look so bad right now, but 12.5 is a lot of points. So, and it's still the NFL, so anything can happen. So that's why I landed on Kansas State there.
Like it.
Big fan. So now that we take a step back here, Brooke, if you're going to steal somebody else's bet, where are you looking? What do you like the best?
I think I like the best Tyler's Washington State money line. They're both ranked teams, and you're given, Washington State at plus money at home with Cam Ward. I don't know how Cam Ward hasn't been talked about in the Heisman discussion yet after knocking off Wisconsin. If he wins this one, I feel like he'll definitely be in that conversation, and they'll be a top 15 team. Me and Tyler have both been bullish on Oregon State, but the way Washington State has looked to this point, they have a good defense, or a good enough defense, but a really explosive offense. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah, and I really do love DJ Uiagalelei, but I don't think that that team has the ability to go into Washington State and win outright.
That's tough. That's not an easy place to win for by any means.
Yeah, and it's weird thinking about Washington State being that kind of team, but this year they've looked that part, certainly.
For sure.
Without a doubt. Who did they – Wisconsin went to Washington State and just didn't look good at all. Now, granted, Washington State also hasn't looked good in any of their other games either, but, that's one that I certainly had circled like this.
Yeah,
this isn't an easy win.
Wisconsin hasn't really looked like they have in the past couple of years.
Wisconsin's on upset alert Friday night at Purdue, too.
Oh, I forgot to look at the Friday games. That's all right.
Let's see. If I was going to steal a pick, I think I really like Notre Dame money line. I almost wish I would have gotten it in my $100 or $200 line, but in hindsight, I wish I would have put that over Broncos money line. That's a bold move. But I think Notre Dame's so set up for success here, and if it was in Columbus, I definitely wouldn't be as juiced about it. But any situation where you get Kyle McCord in any bit of situation where he's not 100% comfortable, I think that goes very well for Notre Dame here.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. But the pick that I would steal is Penn State -14.5. They didn't look great against Illinois. And they didn't capitalize on all the turnovers that they had too much. Obviously the score doesn't really dictate that, what I'm saying, but watching the game, they didn't really look to be on the same page offensively. So I think that they at home with the whiteout. I think it's going to be an electric game, and they cover 14.5.
And I was looking at those two programs, and there's not anything that Iowa has that I like significantly more than Penn State's equivalent. I like their defense a little bit more, but I like Penn State's quarterback way more. I like their offensive line more. I like their head coach more. I like their play calling more. I like their defensive coordinator almost the same.
It's crazy to me how good Cade McNamara looked at Michigan, because he took them to a 12-0 season. I know he split reps, but so far at Iowa and Western Michigan, like, he was missing throws. He was late. There were a couple touchdowns that were picks, and you saw Brian Ferentz on the sideline throwing his headset because he was that upset. And I thought he was going to be the quarterback to finally break that stigma of being a game manager. But, I mean, he has not looked good either. And if Western Michigan gave him problems that time, he's going to be in for a rude awakening with Penn State.
No kidding. Well, perfect. I feel like we got a lot of winners this week. I feel good about it. I'm going to stop looking at my bets because I'm feeling worse and worse about them as the day goes on. Now, granted, I also felt really good about my picks last week, and we see how that worked out. So overall here, I'm pretty juiced. Any honorable mentions for you? Any other games that you had on the radar that you thought about putting on there?
I was really just, like I said, looking at those NFL games that I mentioned. Those are the other ones I was looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's easily Nebraska, just because Northern Illinois was a better team and we beat them by 20 plus. And I know we're 19.5-point favorites. LA Tech is way worse off, and they can't throw the ball. They really can't run the ball on us. And I don't think it'll just be, will the offense turn the ball over? If we don't, we're going to beat them by 30, maybe 40.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the other one I had circled. Arkansas 17.5-point dog against LSU. I think they meet in the middle a little bit. LSU coming off a really big win. Arkansas coming off of a loss that they'd rather not think about. So I think they kind of bounce back to norm here. 17.5 is a lot.
Is LSU at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely like them to win. But, you know, when throwing out 2.5 touchdowns, that's a lot of points.
For sure.
Yeah, one other game I forgot to mention was I was really looking at the Kansas BYU game.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that I feel like it's going to be so close that it's hard to pick one side or the other. So I decided to stay away from that game. But that one's, I think, is going to be one of the better ones of the weekend.
Absolutely. It's a good one. But I think we've got a good week ahead of us, fellas. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Let's win.
That's it.
Just win, baby. Just win.
Absolutely. That's all we need to do. Perfect. This is Bookie Brooke and the boys. We got a whole channel full of content every day. Something's coming out, whether it's Bookie Brooke and the boys or Go Big 12 or Go Big Home or Cornhusker Connection. I mean, we got content coming out the wazoo. So we are loaded up here on the Cornhusker Connection Network.